Welcome once again, everyone, and hope everybody's enjoyed their July 4th holiday. Back to the grindstone on Monday, and we got a lot to cover on this podcast this afternoon. Certainly, thank you for tuning in. The outpouring of support for this podcast has been absolutely off the chart, and more people are finding out about it. And again, it's on YouTube. It's San Diego Sports Talk, the John Kentera Show. And also, you can go to Facebook, follow me on Facebook at John Kentera. On X, it's at Coach Kentera 44, at Coach Kentera 44. And when you subscribe, and please subscribe, we've got well over 1,000 folks that have already subscribed. If you would, let your friends know, and make sure you turn on your notifications so you don't miss any of our podcasts. You'll know when they're coming down the pike. Right now, we're doing basically 2 per week, normally wrapping up a Padre series, getting ready for another one. And we've got a lot to talk about on this podcast. It was an interesting weekend, to say the least, for the San Diego Padres against the Arizona Diamondbacks. They dropped 2 out of 3, but we're going to get into the All-Star game. The All-Star game coming up on July 16th down in Arlington, Texas. Bruce Bochy going to manage the American League. Torey Lovello, the Arizona Diamondbacks, going to manage the National League. And on Sunday, they announced the remainder of both the National League and American League All-Star teams. And the Padres, oh man, you Padre fan, I am so excited about seeing so many Padres in the game. They're going to have a total of 5 All-Stars. Now, granted, Fernando was voted in. He won't be able to play due to that right leg injury. Jerks and Profar getting voted in. His first All-Star appearance. 11 years in the big leagues, finally getting to go to the Midsummer Classic, and he certainly earned it. We know that. But then they announced Luis Arraez going to the All-Star game, 2-time batting champ, won an American League title a couple of years ago in Minnesota. Last year, won the title with the Miami Marlins, doing a great job, hitting 307 for the Padres right now, doing a great job in that leadoff spot, playing a pretty good first base for a guy that doesn't really have a lot of experience out there at first base, doing a pretty good job, but excited to Luis Arraez. Robert Suarez, 22 saves. That was a slam dunk. I mean, that was a flat-out slam dunk the way he's performed the first half of the year. And then the surprise, and I really was excited about this, Jackson Merrill, and he's earned it. I mean, he flat-out earned his All-Star game appearance. Can you imagine, 21 years of age? He had only played 46 games in Double-A. And he come up and is just doing an unbelievable job for the Padres and making a position change, not one position change from shortstop to left, but out there to center and playing. I mean, to me, how many times have you said that boy, that was a bad play by Jackson Merrill? Once or twice, maybe. The guy's been almost flawless out there. He doesn't even know what he's doing yet. And he's been amazing out there. Just a lot of great baseball instinct. But I was really excited about Jackson Merrill. So you got Tatis will go, can't play. Profar going to start in the game. You got Robert Suarez. You got Luis Arraez. You got Jackson Merrill. Manny left off. And, the thing with Manny, I thought Manny might make it. And the reason I thought is Manny had a slow start. We know that. And really, the last 3 weeks, he's really picked it up. And, after an 0 for 4 on Sunday, average under 270 now, but, starting to drive in runs, starting to play like Manny Machado. Has been good on defense all year long. Even with the bad shoulder and all, he's been playing great defense. But I thought he might get in. Arenado's not having a great year. Austin Riley's not having a great year. Ryan McMahon was named. Colorado needed an all-star, so they got Ryan McMahon. He's a third baseman. And he plays good defense, left-hand hitter, got a little pop. So Manny, I'm not going to say he was snubbed. He got off to a slow start, but has really picked it up. But, Padres, I'll be okay with 5 guys. 4 of them will get to play. And I'm excited about that. And who knows, Manny could end up being an alternate. But, with a newborn baby, him and his wife may just want to spend some time together and lounge around, get a little rest, because the second half of the year, Padres have to start on the road. That first series coming out, they're going to be in Cleveland. But I was really excited about Jackson Merrill. I was excited about all of them, but I was really excited about Jackson Merrill. Now, the other thing that was interesting, because I follow Padre baseball morning, noon, or night, and I follow it 12 months out of the year. I love Padre baseball. And I'm still waiting like you. Been a fan since 1969, still waiting for that opportunity to win the World Series. Been there a couple of times, come up short. But I follow it all. And I follow the guys that played here in San Diego, and I always wish them the best of luck, except against the Padres. There were a bunch of guys that made the All-Star game in both the National and American League that are former Padres. I thought I'd share that with you. First of all, how about Josh Naylor hitting 243 right now for the Guardians with 21 bombs and 65 RBIs, doing a great job. I always knew he was going to be a good hitter. He played the outfield, he can play first base, but he's in the lineup because he can flat out knock runs in. 21 dingers already for Josh Naylor, and a good guy, by the way. His brother's on the team. He's their backup catcher. Matt Strahm. Remember Matty Strahm? Doing a great job out of that Phillies bullpen right now, 4-1 and a 1.59 ERA. Congratulations to Matt Strahm, his first All-Star game appearance. Seth Lugo. You know what? Right now, if you haven't followed the American League or Seth Lugo right now is in the conversation for the American League Cy Young. Yeah, Seth Lugo, the guy that signed with the Padres a year ago because he wanted to have an opportunity to be a starting pitcher and really made the most of it. And he got a nice contract from the Royals, and he has come out of the gate this year just absolutely amazing. Good fastball, outstanding breaking ball, can really spin the baseball. He goes to the All-Star game for the first time. He's 11-3 and a 2.21 ERA. Boy, wouldn't that have looked nice in the Padre rotation? Wow. Then you got Kirby Yates going to his second All-Star game. And you know what? Kirby Yates is a grinder. I mean, here's a guy that had Tommy John surgery after he spent time here in San Diego, went to Atlanta, ended up in Texas, doing a great job for Boch. Right now, Kirby Yates got 13 saves on the year, a 3-1 record, and a 0.86 ERA. Yeah, he's a guy you got to pull for. He was always a great guy here in San Diego. And then finally, C.J. Abrams, doing a great job atop of that lineup for the Washington Nationals. He was one of the guys that went in the Juan Soto deal. And if you haven't paid attention, James Wood, that big outfielder, they brought him up this week, and he's off to a pretty good start with the Nationals. Had his first homer over the weekend, but doing a really nice job. In fact, he had 2 hits in the game where he hit the homer. He had a homer and a double. A 6'7", 240-pounder. He's going to be a good one, too. But 5 former Padres making the All-Star game. So congratulations to them. And you know what? All 5 of those guys are good guys. I knew them all when they were here. Good people, and you pull for good people. All right? Now, let's get to the recap of the Diamondback series. Whew. Disappointing, to say the least. Disappointing, to say the least, especially Sunday's game. I mean, they were not very good. I mean, Dylan Cease was good. He got tagged with the loss. He gave up a leadoff homer to Corbin Carroll in the first, gave up that 2-run bomb to Eugenio Suarez in the 7th. Padres couldn't muster anything. They had 4 hits. Profar hit his 13th home run in the first inning to tie it. But at the end of the day, Diamondbacks looked like they wanted that game a little bit better. Ryan Nelson came out, did a good job. Diamondbacks with the win, they get to 500. They're at 45-45 now. That Diamondback ball club's a real pain. Corbin Carroll slowly but surely starting to get it going a little bit. Eugenio Suarez had a huge day, 3 for 5. He had a 2-run homer off of Cease, and then clobbered a 3-run double off of Enyel De Los Santos, who, by the way, he came in and picked up for Austin Davis. Austin Davis wasn't very good, and neither was Enyel De Los Santos. In fact, De Los Santos looks tired. Everything's flat, doesn't have any bite to his breaking ball right now, and he is gassed. And I'll tell you the other thing. I've been watching his ERA slowly creep up, and after the performance on Sunday, Enyel De Los Santos, who I like, and I think pretty good pitcher, his ERA has climbed to 4.75. And, the Padres, you go back to Friday night. Padres had that nice lead. And bingo, Alec Thomas hit that grand slam off of Suarez when he came in, and then Randall Grichuk got him for a 2-run bomb to take a lead. And thank good the Padres were able to come up with 3 runs in the bottom of the 9th, or they very well could have got swept. Diamondbacks are tough, man. They're starting to play better baseball. They got, I think, one of the better managers in baseball. I'm a big Torey Lovullo fan. I think he's a good manager. I've never been a big Diamondback organization guy for a variety of reasons. I do hold grudges. And I'm still irritated about Bob Brenly dogging Ben Davis when he broke up that perfect game years ago by Kurt Schilling. That always grinded my gears to this day. Hey, Ben Davis, it was a 2-0 ball game. And I hate to go back in history, but it was a 2-0 game. Ben Davis was a young ball player. Your job when you're coming up and it's a 2-0 game, get on and get that tying run to the plate. And that's exactly what Ben Davis did. And it was an awful bunt, terrible bunt. But he got on, and Bob Brenly, ripped Ben Davis about it. And, I just thought that was Bush League. I thought that was Bush League. Ben Davis, young kid, trying to make his way at the big league level, trying to make something happen. He did what was good for his ball club. And so I've never been a big Diamondbacks fan. Even when Kevin Towers went over, they're one of my buddies in baseball. I've never been able to root for that organization in any way, shape, or form, but they got a great manager. Mike Hayes is an outstanding general manager. Went through a very difficult time a couple of years ago when he lost his wife. Tough battle with cancer. Good people over there. No, I got to say that. Lovullo, Brent Strom, who I coached against many years ago when he was an assistant for Bill Sandbeck at San Diego Mesa College. One of the great pitching coaches in baseball. They got a lot of good people in that Diamondback organization right now. And they got a bunch of grinders, guys that know how to play the game and not afraid to bunt. They're not afraid to run. And they're going to be a real problem for not only the Padres, but everybody else in the division and in the National League, because they're starting to play much better baseball. They get Merrill Kelly back. They get Jordan Montgomery back. The time away for Montgomery will probably help him since he didn't have a spring training. And then Eduardo Rodriguez, who we remember with Boston and with Detroit. He hadn't pitched at all. Get those guys back. Their bullpen, they got some good, young, powerful arms. They're going to be a pain. Padres, on the other hand, Padres are going to have to figure some things out. We got the news on Saturday regarding Yu Darvish, and the only thing I can say about that, he was placed on the restricted list. He won't get paid. I think if I was the owner or the club, I'd probably pay him. I don't know what the rules and regulations are on that, but I think I'd pay him. Not that he needs the money, but he's a real pro. He's got to deal with a family matter, and he may or may not be back. And the only thing I can say is I wish Yu Darvish and his entire family the very, very best, and hope whatever he's dealing with, I hope it works out in the right way. But my heart and prayers go out to the Darvish family right now with what they're having to deal with. And we don't know because we don't need to know. We just know that he needs time away from baseball. And I think he was making good progress on coming back and all that. I don't think it has anything to do with that. It's more of a family matter at this point in time. Musgrove, they're saying August. They're not saying early August, mid-August, or late August. Again, you know how I feel about Joe. I love Joe. He's a great competitor. I don't know if we'll see him this year. So the Padres are going to have to make out what they want to do at the trading deadline at the end of July. I mean, right now it looks like they're going to need a starting pitcher. It looks like they need probably a high leverage bullpen guy. But I'll tell you, this wasn't a great weekend of baseball. And they win the game Friday night. Manny ends up, bailing them out. They tied the game, but then Manny hits the 2-run homer to bail them out. And then Saturday night, they get beaten 10 innings. And they got the bases loaded, 7-5, bases loaded, nobody out, and they can't get the job done. They can't even get a fly ball to at least, bring home another run. I mean, so that game went by the boards. And then Sunday, they were right in that game until the top of the 7th, and Cease gives up the 2-run homer to Suarez, and then the roof caved in, and they get beat 9-1. Padre bullpen exhausted right now. They desperately need a couple of off days this week, and they really need the All-Star break. Okay, so that's where we're at right now with the Padre. Disappointing weekend, but there's still 4 games over 500 at 49 and 45. so far on this homestand. And remember, they got 3 coming up later on against Atlanta after Seattle comes in for 2. You got an off day Monday. You got Seattle on Tuesday and Wednesday. Then you've got an off day, and then you've got 3 against Atlanta. Then you got the All-Star break. That's where they're at right now. So the Padres right now, 49 and 45. Like I mentioned, the Diamondbacks with the win, they're 45 and 45 on the year. Padres with the loss on Sunday, they dropped to 7 and 2 in rubber games. They've been really good in rubber games this year. Man, that was an ugly game. Really, kind of an ugly weekend. I mean, they've been playing so well, and you expect a hiccup here and there. They're not going to get any easier. I mean, you got 2 really good teams coming in. I mean, you got the brief 2-game series against Seattle, and Seattle not swinging for much of an average, but they got dudes that can hit the ball long ways, and they got good pitching. You're going to see 2 really good pitchers. I'm going to share those with you here in a minute. And then you've got Atlanta coming in. Atlanta's been a little bit up and down. They've had a lot of injuries, but they're starting to get some guys healthy. But you know how good Atlanta is, and I think they're one of the best teams in baseball. And right now they're sitting in the National League East, and they're fighting for their lives right now in the National League East. So, anyways, let's take a look at the pitching matchups for the series on Tuesday and Wednesday. Let's start off Tuesday, 6:40 against Seattle Mariners, and the Padres have kind of been moving around what they want to do with that off day and try to move guys up or move guys back. But right now, it looks like Seattle's going to send a right-hander Logan Gilbert 5-5 and a 2.91. I think he's one of the better pitchers in the American League. He was named to the All-Star team first time. A guy that pitched at Stetson University. There's another guy that was pretty good out of Stetson, a guy by the name of Jacob deGrom. And Logan Gilbert's pretty good. We've seen him before, and he's normally had the Padres number pretty good. And right now, we believe right-hander Adam Mazur, 1-2 and a 7.52, going to make the start for the Padres. And Mazur's got to be better. You got to be better, and he's got to work ahead in the count. Anytime, I don't care if you're a veteran pitcher or a rookie pitcher like Mazur, you got to work ahead in the count. You get behind the count against these big league hitters, they're going to burn you more times than not. And then Wednesday, you got right-hander Bryce Miller. No, not the columnist for the Union-Tribune, but Bryce Miller, the right-hander for the Seattle Mariners, 6-7 and a 3.84. And right now, we believe right-hander Michael King will go to the post. Michael King doing a pretty good job on the year at this point in time. And I expect big things out of Michael King. I've been very, very happy with the way he has pitched so far for the San Diego Padres coming over from the New York Yankees. Okay, let's take a look at a couple of other things. Let's get to the coach's notebook. And I want to start off today in the coach's notebook on a very somber note. A really good guy, a young man by the name of Ethan Hamilton. He was the athletic director out of Point Loma Nazarene. Ethan, I did not know well. I'd had him on my radio program. I had shook hands with him a couple of times when I'd been out at basketball games at Point Loma Nazarene. And he actually used to be a basketball coach at Point Loma Nazarene. He was 48 years of age. He passed away on Thursday from leukemia. And just a really devastating thing. I was talking to a gentleman today at church by the name of John Gunther, who used to be a pitching coach a number of years ago at Point Loma, and John had not read the paper this morning. And I told him that Ethan had passed away. He goes, and his knees buckled. He goes, "Oh man, what a good guy!" And you know what? Everybody you talk to that knew Ethan Hamilton would say, "Good guy, good leader, great to work with, and everybody's friend." So I want to send this out to Ethan Hamilton's wife and children, entire family, and the family at Point Loma Nazarene University. My sincere condolences and sincere sympathy on the passing of a young man named Ethan Hamilton, who did a marvelous job out there. And not only did he put Point Loma Nazarene on the map to being a powerhouse in the Division II athletics. He did it with class, dignity, and a lot of charm. and he also did a lot of wonders for their conference, the Pac West. So that was a tough one to swallow. I found out about it yesterday, read the article in the Union-Tribune on Sunday, and just wanted to let you know, it's not San Diego State or USD or UCSD. There's some other really good programs in this town. And Point Loma Nazarene lost the guy that was their leader in Ethan Hamilton. So again, sincere condolences from Coach Kentera to the entire family of Ethan and to the Point Loma Nazarene Sea Lions family. The other thing I wanted to mention, and I don't know if you tune into YouTube to watch the San Diego Strike Force in the Indoor Football League. I've been doing their games since their inception with Steve Quist. And every once in a while, if I'm unavailable or Steve's unavailable, my good friend Ted Mendenhall, we call the games, and we have a blast. And I don't know how many of you really know about the Strike Force in San Diego. They play at the Pechanga Arena. It's the IFL. The famous Arizona Rattlers are in that division. And the Strike Force under head coach Taylor Geneser, their general manager Gino Gerbo, Bert Grossman's involved, the former San Diego Charger #1 draft pick, Duke Little, who worked out at San Diego State. They worked the front office. And they have put together really a nice football team. They won a game on Saturday night, and it was a wild one. If you were there, you know what I'm talking about. They played the Vegas Nighthawks. And Vegas was #2 in the league, and they've had a great run. And San Diego, they've had a couple of different ownerships here, and they've tried to right the ship and get through COVID and all that. And Coach Jennifer and the staff done a good job of building this football team. They won their 10th game of the year. They're 10-5. They've got a bye next week, and then they finish up the following Saturday against the team that's winning the division right now, the Bay Area Panthers. But they won a wild one, 60-59 over the Vegas Nighthawks. And the people that come, they have a ball. Steve and I enjoy like heck calling the games. A lot of fun. If you've never been to an arena football game, it's crazy. You got to pay attention. A player could end up in your lap, or you could catch a football. And by the way, if you come to the game, any game in arena football, the ball goes in the stands, you actually get to keep it. So the kids love it. But congratulations to Taylor Geneser and the entire San Diego Strike Force and the front office doing a great job. Want to get more fans in the stands out there. And again, their next game will be coming up on Saturday night, July 20th at Pechanga Arena at 6:05 against the Bay Area Panthers. And right now, the Strike Force are working their way towards hopefully a home playoff game. So we'll see how that goes. The other thing I wanted to get to, a little Ask the Coach. And one guy that I want to point out, a guy that's been a big fan of mine for a long time, young guy, really good guy. His name is Austin Prather. He lives out there in the East County area in El Cajon. And Austin, I really appreciate all the great support you've given me over the years. You're a shining light in my life, and it's always great to get messages from you and keep them coming. And I know you're bummed because the Padres lost 2 out of 3 this weekend against Arizona, but thanks for everything and really appreciate all the great support. And I appreciate all the support from all you fans out there. You've been fantastic. Okay, as we get to Ask the Coach, I want to get to a couple of questions that were sent to me over YouTube on our little chat box. At Jason 1904. What do you think about the Padres? What are they going to do with Donovan Solano when Xander Bogaerts returns? It's a good question. Where does Donovan Solano fit in? I mean, I don't think you're going to DFA him. You know, I think David Peralta's playing a little bit better. You need an outfielder. Solano can't play the outfield. Who knows? Maybe somebody will have that lower back strain or a twinge in the hamstring, and you have a DL move. But Xander Bogaerts working his way back down in the minor leagues right now. I don't know if he'll come back before the All-Star break. I think he would like to. But you know what? At this point in time, get your at-bats in down there and just take your time and get ready for the second half. I don't know if he wants to come back for the Seattle series or Atlanta. Maybe he just wants to get his feet back wet at big league level. But again, the AAA guys will be going on their break. So I think it really is left up to a veteran like Xander Bogaerts. When he thinks he's ready to go, he'll be back, and Padres will have to make a move. And, Tyler Wade has done a great job. He can play all the infield positions. He can be a late inning base runner. He can run. He runs better than Solano and Peralta, for that matter. So A.J. Preller and Mike Schilt and the staff have to make a decision at some point in time, possibly, regarding what they're going to do with Donovan Solano. But let's face it, Donovan Solano has been a big part of what the Padres have been able to get done here the last 2-3 weeks. I mean, he's been a big component of this ball club. Okay, another question. At Rocket Dog, I love that name. At Rocket Dog 2723, I feel like we need help with pitching, another solid starter, and a high leverage reliever. I would agree with that. But what are you going to give up? You don't have a whole lot right now down in the minor leagues to give up. I'm not giving up Robbie Snelling, even though he's not having a good year. I'm not giving up Salas, who continues to hit under 200. I mean, these guys are too young. I mean, they're going to go through the struggle. Dylan Lesko's struggling. Those three guys, I'm not giving up on those guys. And I don't know what other teams look at in the organization. I mean, anytime you make a deal, you're probably going to lose a good young power arm. I don't know where the Padres are at on that. But I know this right now, down in the minor leagues, the Padres are awfully thin. Awfully thin. And that's why you're seeing guys like Austin Davis being brought up. He had a rough game on Sunday. Holy Toledo, giving up 4 runs and 1+ 3 batters. I mean, he couldn't even get an out there in the 9th inning. And they had to bring in De Los Santos, and it went from bad to worse. So, yeah, I think they definitely need a starter, and they, quite frankly, need a high leverage reliever. You'd like to say it would be Jeremiah Estrada, but, I don't know. That's a lot to ask of a rookie in a pennant race. And the other thing, doctors haven't figured out exactly, what has been wrong with him. He's lost like 17 pounds, and at some point in time, that's going to catch up with him. So I just hope the doctors come up with a solution on why he's having a hard time, keeping his weight on right now. And I got one more. At DM Kling Dasu, what about Trevor Bauer? He was found not guilty. Why doesn't anyone give him a chance? My thoughts. Well, I've been asked this question for a long time. And my take on this is that maybe the commissioner's office, I'm not going to say he's been blackballed, but maybe the commissioner's office is frowning on anybody signing him. Maybe they're giving him the old silent treatment. Maybe after this year, maybe they'll sign him and give him another opportunity. Pitching very well in Mexico. I saw, what do you have, 19 strikeouts, set a Mexican League record a couple of weeks ago with 19 strikeouts in a ball game. There's no doubt the guy can still pitch. But, I think the way general managers have to work, and again, Trevor Bauer has gone out repeatedly and said that he would take minimum salary. And at this point in time, it'd be prorated to probably make, around $400,000. The way every day's clicking off the calendar right now. I think every GM that, would think about signing Trevor Bauer, they have to do a deep dive and they have to really do some investigating. And they probably need to go down to the Mexican League and talk to the people down there, find out what's going on the field as well as off the field. Because any organization that signs him, I think, would be under big-time scrutiny. He definitely would be. But I think the organization, they may take a lot of criticism. I would think they would take a lot of criticism, even though he was found not guilty. So we'll see where that goes. There may be a team that's so desperate and they want to win a pennant. Their owner says, hey, I'm willing to take that PR hit. I'm willing to deal with all the media, even though the owners never really deal with the media unless they come out and have a press conference. It's usually the general manager and the manager. And then they stick a mic in the player's mug. And the best thing, if Trevor Bauer does get re-signed to the big leagues, just say, hey, I'm thankful for a second opportunity, and be very, very humble and be gracious and grateful. So we'll see where that goes. But, getting back to the Padres, rough weekend. Dropping 2 out of 3. They get a well-deserved day off on Monday. They got 2 tough games going against 2 very nice major league pitchers on Wednesday and Thursday, and Logan Gilbert and Bryce Miller. Off day Thursday, 3 games against Atlanta in the All-Star break. Padres got to pick it up. I mean, as much as they were pushing the envelope, working their way towards, 7 games over 500, hopefully 8, 9, 10 games over 500. Right now, they're 4 games over 500. They're still in the wild card, but again, things are changing daily. And I think the Padres don't need to necessarily look at the standings right now. They need to just look at their roster and what they're going to do to beef up that bullpen and see if there's any starting pitcher out there at all. A Garrett Crochet, let's face it, Garrett Crochet is probably available, but you're going to have to give up significant for him. By the way, he was named also to his first All-Star game, and he leads Major League Baseball in strikeouts this year. But again, he's a guy that hasn't thrown a lot of big league innings, and you got to wonder if he'll wear down in August and September, let alone get into the playoffs. So there's a lot to navigate for A.J. Preller, Mike Schilt, and the entire Padre organization when they're looking to bring in some arms, whether it's in the starting rotation or in the bullpen. But hope everyone had a great July 4th holiday. We'll resume with another podcast on Wednesday. It'll get up Wednesday evening after that final series game against the Seattle Mariners. We'll break that series down and get you ready for the Bravos, the Atlanta Braves, Brian Snitker's ball club. Again, remember, make sure you go to YouTube, San Diego Sports Talk, John Kentera Show, and also you can follow me on Facebook at John Kentera and on X at Coach Kentera 44. Until then, Coach John Kentera, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate all the questions. Talk to you again real soon. Have a great week, everyone. Bye-bye.